It's versus. It's episode 45. I'm John Marr. That's Will Cohen. Will, uh, ITN distribution isn't going down without a fight. How you feel?
If it feels like I'm getting thinner like week after week, I think it's probably because my own cells are fighting to like stay within my body. Because some of these have just been struggles upon struggles. Like at least with the last, at least this week, it is not nearly as bad as the last 2 weeks were. 'Cause the last 2 weeks were just hell on earth. So it's really nice to get back to just a standard piece of shit movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's part of the culture. There's got to be 100 movies that are about Ouija boards. And ITN took their first crack and they made a whole Ouija house.
Laurie, what exactly happened at your aunt's house?
My cousin's the one that told me about all the witchcraft stuff.
Witchcraft?
Don't worry, man. Laurie's ancestors were good witches.
I told you never to go up there. You have no business going there.
Besides, she doesn't need to know that we're going there to do witchcraft experiments with our friends. So this is it.
Hey, it doesn't look that bad.
You made it! Oh.
Nothing too scary right off the bat.
What? Pet rocks.
The coven use these in their rituals.
There's stories about a cult sacrificing babies at this place.
The way this house was built had something to do with the spirit world.
Keeping spirits out?
More like keeping one in.
I found a Ouija board here. We're gonna play it tonight.
Tomas, you have to get him out of there, you understand?
Is there a spirit with us tonight?
Yes, there is a spirit.
It's too late. You already started playing the game. He'll keep you playing the game until everyone dies.
It's fantastic.
My stomach!
Hey man, what if we take like weird misogyny and put it towards like Ouija and wordplay and stuff? Man, doesn't that sound cool?
Yeah,
I mean that had to be like this, someone who looks this much like a douche had to walk into the writer's room, pitch this, and no one stopped him.
I got 3 ladies who are willing to take their tops off. What can we do with it? That's and they built the movie out from there.
It's like, and it's like, how did they get these 3 famous people to be in it? It's like first they had to have
4,
like,
let's say 4. Chris Mulkey's been in a ton of stuff.
that's fair,
Yeah.
but they to get like 4 like reason like 4 like names. First of all, they had to have like pulled this out of a "Are we still relevant?" hat.
Well,
And
let's be fair about at least one of the names. Tara Reid's in this movie for like 90 seconds. Like Tara Reid's in the cold open as the younger version of Dee Wallace, though. So,
Right,
like,
but she does show up again in the film.
okay.
She does show up a couple times. Still, for her to have as much, her to have as little screen time as she has, she's still got top billing, which is really fucked up.
Yeah, it's like all the names, with the exception of Chris Mulkey, who put in probably days worth of work. Congratulations, he's a journeyman. Everyone else kind of like Dee Wallace kind of bookends the movie. Misha Barton's character is like gone halfway through the movie ish, and Tara Reid has like only a few minutes of screen time. So there's that. But they do promote this movie like, look at these stars, and you're not really getting these stars.
Yeah, this is like like how these guys just didn't get absolutely sued for false advertising. I'm just kind of bewildered by personally. But this is the kind of shit that like I would never put past ITN to begin with. So brava for being douches again.
And I'll say one more thing, because like in the very, very beginning, when Tara Reid's there, Tiffany Shepis is also there, and she's like known in the horror community. So they got her to do like 90 seconds of work as well. So there's that. But I want you to start with the beginning, where like it's in the past. I don't know how many years ago it was. It looks like the present, but it's the past. They're dressed just like we dress in the present time, but it's the past.
It's fantastic.
So Tara Reid is, I don't know what age she's supposed to be. And I'm not knocking on Tara Reid. Like she's been through enough. But like she is not the age of the character that she's playing. Like
no.
She's nowhere near it. Like I don't know what they were trying to do. And I'm not saying anything bad about Tiffany Shepis either. She is also not the age of the character that she is supposed to be either.
Here you guys are. There, you made it. Would have missed this for the world.
The dude, the third guy, the no-name guy, looks the right age. And whatever, and they do a very quick fuck around and find out where Claire, I guess, is the aunt who's Tiffany Shepis' character, gets dragged away into the darkness because they can't afford any like real effects at this point in the movie, and then Tara Reid gets thrown out of a window. Tomas disappears, and then title card, Ouija House.
Yeah, like it always amuses me that everyone thinks that every actress out there thinks that they are Stacey Dash, because Stacey Dash at one point in her 40s actually played a teenager and somehow is more convincing than anyone else doing the same shtick. So like Tara Reid playing like even a 20-year-old when she looks the way that she does, but she looks her age.
We're not saying she looks bad.
We're not saying that she looks bad. We're saying that she looks her age.
She's older than we are. Like,
she is. So a woman in her 50s should not be playing a 20-year-old. Okay, sorry, this just should not happen, unless you look like Paul Rudd.
Put a wig on Paul Rudd; it would have been more convincing.
A little bit. We digress.
It also and I'm gonna just go back to the cold up one more time. Like, what happens to her doesn't happen to anybody else, because like later on in the movie, it becomes like that Nightmare on Elm Street 4 thing where they can't escape the house; they just keep going around in circles.
No.
If she's caught up in the Ouija house, how did she get out of the house? Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that later.
Well, it's only how did she get out of the house is why was she thrown out of the house so violently?
Right. And don't worry, if you watch this movie, you'll have so many questions. None of them will be answered. I promise you. They will answer none of them. So then we get to the present day. Now Tara Reid is Dee Wallace.
Right.
Okay.
Which
sure. Of course it is.
Somehow it's almost aging in like reverse dog years, but okay, yeah. Sure.
And then she has a daughter, and correct me if I'm wrong. The daughter is going to school. She is writing. She's like writing her master's thesis on like debunking paranormal activity.
No, it's not debunking paranormal activity. It's trying to prove it.
Well, but through science. Like but through science. It's not like ghosts. She's finding scientific reason why paranormal.
She's essentially writing her paper on demonology.
Right.
That's not a course, guys.
Mom, really, I don't want you to worry about this anymore, okay? As soon as I finish my thesis, we'll publish the book, and then I'll buy you this house back, or we can get you another one.
And like she has a book that's being published, and I'm going to confuse myself. She has a book. She has a publisher, but the publisher is fake. It's actually, I'm giving a spoiler. I'm giving another spoiler. It's actually Tomas is the publisher who's stringing her along to get her to go to the house that they don't want her in. And then he stops getting her in the house, even though he's the reason why she's there.
Oh, it's even more confusing than that.
Okay.
Is because, like, again, we're spoiling this. I don't think anyone really gives a shit.
Nobody cares.
So, fake publisher, who actually is Tomas, he's trying to get her to the house. He doesn't want her in the house. And Tomas has been talking to her mother. And Tomas, the publisher, and her mother are trying to bury the book. But the book sales are going to try and help the mother get her house back.
I forgot about that. Like, yeah,
It's
the
like
house is in foreclosure, and the book's going to save the house, but there is no book deal. The book deal is fake.
Yeah, this plot is already like so much more complicated than the plot of Transcendence. This is just really bad.
Yeah, the movie could have just been like every other stupid ITN family movie. It's like, we have this house in the family. It's fucked up. Fucked up shit happened in this house. Don't go to that fucking house.
I'm going to go to the fucking house anyway.
I'm going to go to that fucking house. That's it. That's all you needed to do. That was all. That's there's good movies where that's the plot.
Yeah.
That's Evil Dead. Like, go, you did it.
That's Evil Dead. That's Cabin in the Woods. That's like.
Anyway, like, so she goes, she has a boyfriend, and then she has a friend named Spence, and Spence has a girlfriend, and for some reason, the girlfriend had gotten drunk and made out with who's the main character? Laurie's boyfriend. She had made out with him, Nick, and whatever.
No, it's not fine. Look, Laurie, I just really want us to be fine.
You stuck your tongue down my boyfriend's throat when he was drunk.
Cool. Like, it's unnecessary because, like, it's entered in as a plot point that she made out with the guy when she's drunk. Apparently she gets drunk and gets crazy, and then like it's like they have a scene where like Laurie forgives her, and it's never brought up again.
You apologized. I accept your apology.
Why bring it up then? Who gives a shit?
And not only that, but no one gets drunk in the movie.
No, she does.
Why even bring this up in the first place?
No, the girl, what's her face? Tina does get drunk because remember she's like taking shots, and then she draws the Ouija board. She takes her shirt off. She's wearing a bra though, and she draws the Ouija board on herself. She takes a couple shots.
I don't remember this at all.
I think I have an idea for phase 2.
But
because it's my favorite scene in the movie because, like, pause. I do want to talk about Grace DeMarco, who doesn't have many movie credits. She is in this movie. She's also in a great movie called The Invisible Raptor, and she's great in that movie. So I don't understand why she sucks so bad in this movie. Grace, I know you can do better, and it took you 6 years to get there. Thank you for doing The Invisible Raptor. Fuck you for doing Ouija House, though. This is crazy. Anyway, so she gets they do the funny thing is they find a Ouija board. They use the Ouija board.
So the rules are simple: never play alone, never play where someone's been murdered before, and always say goodbye before you leave.
Right? They could keep using the Ouija board, but then Tina gets drunk and like paints a Ouija board on her torso with a bra. There's no nudity, and like then they're not using like a planchette. They're just using a fucking rock. It's a rock, so it doesn't move like a planchette would move. And the rock somehow, she winds up swallowing the rock. I'm not a physicist. She swallows the rock, and it's this fucking big. It's a huge rock, and she doesn't die. Like, she dies, and they do CPR.
Back up.
And then she's not dead, and it's like she never swallowed a rock. She swallowed a fucking. This would kill you. Like I don't understand.
Well, the rocks do come. The rocks do come into play, and they do their best to explain the rocks. But at the end of the day, again, they're making this infinitely more complicated.
It's such a complicated movie because the house is tainted because back in the day there was a coven.
Not far from where we are now. They believed that certain stones held a type of power.
And just like any good coven, the coven has a warlock, and the coven was a coven of good witches, but the warlock was a douchebag, and he wanted like power, and he made like a fucking ram's head.
Slaughtered a ram and fashioned a ceremonial headpiece from the blood and horns.
And they sacrificed babies, and they were kidnapping villagers, and he forced them to fucking play Wordle. Like,
the warlock would force the parents to play one of his word games, but the villagers would never win.
He plays the daily jumble with a bunch of villagers, and the villagers, it's supposed to be like in the 1800s. The villagers are dressed like modern day. It's berserk. And like, so he plays the daily jumble. He like throws letters at them. They guess the wrong word. They die. They take the baby. Then they built the house. Here's the thing: to seal the evil warlock spirit, the house is a Ouija board, because under the paint there's letters. So then they're playing Ouija with the house, and then the evil spirits giving them jumbles, and they're fucking it up, and people are dying. It is great.
Silent, motherfucker! Or answer silent! It was silent. It was silent. We actually got it right. We actually got it.
Nick, wait!
It is, if you love word games and horror movies about Ouija boards, like they made a movie.
There's got to be another. I'm sorry. I have to step in here. If you love both, if you love your horror movies to have word games in it, I guarantee there has to be like some fucking. There has to be a movie that Will Schultz somehow did in school that has got to be better than this piece of shit.
Yeah, and then I wish I could tell you this resolves sensibly, but it devolves into like legit. It devolves into the daily jumble. People die, and some people survive. Guns are introduced. Chris Mulkey's character shoots himself for some reason.
I'm sorry I couldn't help your mother.
It goes all over the place.
The woman who is Tina, who is possessed by, I shit you not, the warlock's name has the dumbest fucking name ever. It's Roka.
Roka, yes.
And to defeat Roka, they have to cover up the letters that spell his name.
And that doesn't. I don't know if that even defeats him. It just like kind of stops him. And
it literally. Yeah. They say it literally takes his power away.
But the funny thing is, he had power before they even uncovered the letters in the first place. So like, what the fuck?
But remember, as soon as they cover the last letter, which is the A, all of a sudden Tina collapses on the floor, and that's when she's able to do the weird makeshift surgery, take out the glowing crystal out of her belly,
and that kills her. Laurie like rips. Laurie does the sawtooth thing that saves Amanda and pulls the stone out of Tina's stomach, which unpossesses Tina, but also kills her.
You have no control here.
Whatever. And then her and the friend Spence get out of the house because Nick gets killed, the cousin gets killed, the other guy shoots himself. So the girl and the friend get out of the house, and there's like very happy funerals. And then she goes back home. The house has not been saved, but they are living in the house. Like they made no money.
They indicate that the house is saved because she's now working 2 jobs to afford the mortgage.
Then they should have done that in the first place. And they go back to the house, but then she goes in the house, and it turns out that house is also a Ouija house. I don't know why. And the mom's possessed, and the movie ends. What the fuck? Ouija house.
We keep like this. I think this is going to be the second time that we've said this. This movie, I don't think this movie could have been 10 minutes, but a half hour, a lean half hour.
This movie should have been animated in 10 minutes.
If this movie was animated in 10 minutes, they could have done like some enormously goofier things than what actually happened here, and it could have gotten nominated for Best Animated Short.
100%.
Especially if they
so
would have gotten
weird.
Will Schultz involved, because Will Schultz would have actually made this presentable.
It's like every idea. Once again, every idea made it into this movie. Like everybody in that writers' room had their ideas. No, it's like a bloated Senate bill. It's like, well, I'm my writer. Well, I'm gonna get my writer on this movie too. Yeah, well, can we have her swallow a rock? Well, can we do a jumble? Yeah, okay, let's all do it. And they all get their shit in the movie.
Yeah, this is like the dark. This sounds like the darker version of the Gremlins 2 story. It's like, I want my idea in here. I want my idea in here. I want my idea in here. It's like, and then the CEO just was like, you know what, fuck it. We're just gonna do this because why not? Like, we have the money.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. Like normally I would say with some of these movies, like sometimes with some ITN movies, like I can find the thread and I can be like, oh, there was a good movie in here. There wasn't a good movie in here. Like there wasn't. This is a stew, and the stew tastes like sewage. 1.5 taste. Only because like Chris Mulkey acts his ass off. Will?
I'm also giving this 1.5. Normally these kind of films just get like the solid like standard 2, maybe even 2.5 if there's something interesting in here. The most interesting thing about this film is how they just demanded to make this as convoluted as humanly fucking possible. I am stunned at how just incomprehensibly stupid this movie is and how barely watchable it is. It's like, if you're going to make things that complicated, put the effort into making the rest of the script make sense. And they just failed to do that on all fronts. Plus, they made this as pompous as humanly possible by like bragging about the name actors they managed to convince to do this for tax credit or blackmail purposes or whatever. Seriously, why bring Dee Wallace in here? This is just elder abuse. This is fucking elder abuse at the finest, especially what happens to her at the end of the movie with her bashing her fucking head in the wall. No, elder abuse. Fuck you guys.
Well, if you thought this week was a good adventure, ITN kept on the theme because according to Letterboxd, the next movie in chronological order is Ouija Geist. Ouija Geist. Your guess is as good as mine, but we're talking about it next week here on Versus. If you made this far in the video, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Go to the Facebook group at Why We Love Horror. Hey, and jump on over Letterboxd. Do the Why We Love Horror challenge with us at that website. 52 prompts each week. A brand new movie. You can do whatever you want. Expand your horizons. Schedule here is the same. Why We Love Horror TV, taking a break all the way for the next big TV show to show up. Versus, it's Monday, you're watching it. Thursday, Why We Love Horror. Friday, Why We Love Horror Trivia. Special editions drop whenever we feel like it. But until next time, I'm John Marr, and that's Will Cohen, and this has been your latest episode of Versus.